With me, have you here. We are going to be going over stick foundation and how stick foundation can be used to give you light coverage, meaning a lot of your imperfections or freckles and everything shine through. And it can also be used as a concealer and give you even up to full coverage. So a lot of great things that you can do with your stick foundation. So do me a favor and say a little hashtag hello lovely in those comments below. I would love to see who's joining in. And one of the other things I'd love to see is where you are tuning in from. I'm from Rhode Island. It's the smallest state in the United States, so I love to see who I'm able to interact with and meet over social media, which is really neat. So just to give you a heads up, this week through Sunday, I have a foundation special. It is practically 50% off. You get to have your choice of a foundation type. I can color match you, but know that if you need a color match, you need to message me as soon as possible so we can get that ball rolling. So you're going to get your foundation choice. It can be BB cream, stick foundation, pressed powder, spray, new liquid foundation. There's all different options, and I am doing little videos throughout the week to share with you which ones are best for what different skin types. Then you get to either have a concealer or a face brush. Face brushes will help you either apply your foundation or you can use them for other items. So all of that bundled together will be $50. It's essentially like you're getting your brush or concealer for $1. It's awesome. This is great if you already use my foundation and you just want to stock up while it's on sale, which is great if you'd like to try something new or maybe utilize foundation in a different way as a contouring or as a second option. And then there is an upgrade where you can get a new face primer, either mattifying face primer or a hydrating face primer for an additional $20. So great savings. As I said, it's essentially 50% off your base face. This is a great time of year to really kind of restock things. I just want to let you know that I already did put on my face primer. The trick of face primer is you do need to let it sit on your face. It's going to fill in those pores and those fine lines and create a nice blank canvas for your makeup to go on, but you need to give it at least 3 to 5 minutes so that it can really create that barrier. You don't feel it or anything, but it needs to do that. Otherwise, it just mixes in with your foundation. Hi, Gloria. How you doing? Great to see you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. So today, as I said, the foundation that I'm going to be using is my stick foundation. I did use a little bit of self-tanner from my tanning drops just to give myself a little bit of color, so I'm a smidge darker than I usually am. I know, I'm usually like as white as the wall behind me, so just giving myself a little bit of color. So I am going to be utilizing the neutral shade Lace today. I am not going to be using concealer because, as I said, part of the bundle is you get a foundation and either a concealer or a foundation and a brush. And I do believe when you choose the stick foundation that you do need the Kabuki brush. So I wanted to share with you that I'm actually going to use this for my entire face, even under my eyes as a concealer, because this product can do all of that. So I've already had a primed face, and this product just can't get any easier. You just draw it on your face and then you blend it out. You always want to start off putting your product on the center of your face and then blend it outwards so that way you don't have kind of a ring around your face, kind of that mask look. So I'm going to do more of a light coverage first, then I'm going to do more of a full coverage so you can see the light versus full, and then I'll finish up with the full coverage. So just gonna go in, like, whoo, as I'm dropping things, I was just gonna say this light is a little bright, so I don't wanna, oh well, it is what it is. So I'm just putting a couple little dots on my face. Another tip when you're applying foundation is to apply it where you need it most. Like a lot of people do get redness here, but if you have age spots or breakouts or scars, you can also do a little dab there. So I'm going to take the Kabuki brush. This is a flat-topped, densely packed bristles, very different than like your traditional setting powder brush or just kind of powder brush. This is really what you need for your stick foundation. So you can see that pore right there, but that's okay. Actually, you know what that is? That isn't even a pore. That is a spider bite. I was bit by a spider when I was in high school, and it created this like massive looking pore on my face, which is absolutely hysterical. And I had to put a big old band-aid there, and I felt like a rapper because I had a band-aid straight on my face. I thought it was a pimple at first, and then we went to the doctor because it was acting weird and it had some weird coloring. It turned black. The doctor was like, no, you actually got bit by a spider. So, oh well, luckily I don't have a big fear of spiders, and there's nothing I could do about it then. It had already left my face, but it left me with this little scar right here. So look how easy that was. Super, super easy, right? I literally drew a couple dots on my face and blended it. You can still see some of my freckles and my coloring shining through. As I said, you can also utilize it as your concealer. It's nice and hydrating. So the stick foundation is great for all skin types, especially if you're looking for a dewy finish that allows you to have that light to full coverage. It is great for those of you who don't want to necessarily have a foundation and a concealer because it's 2 in 1. But it does give that dewy finish. Dewy meaning it catches the light, it looks a little, I don't know, just like youthful and glowy. It's the opposite of matte. Matte gives you more that traditional powder kind of coverage. So can you see the difference? I can. It toned down the unevenness, the redness in my skin. I could have even done even smaller dots and had even lighter coverage. Great, great option for friends with dry skin. Those of you who do have a lot of texture on your skin who want to kind of cover that up. So on this side, I'm going to show more of a fuller coverage. So I'm really just going to draw a little bit more. I'm going to go to town and make sure that I deposit enough product there. Particularly, you know, my big areas, I've got a lot of freckles, I've got a lot of age spots, and I love them. I love my freckles. I don't love my age spots, but essentially they become freckles because they're next to them. I love my freckles. So I don't normally do full coverage, but I do appreciate that there are some people who want more full coverage. You know, you really want to have that nice blank template with which to work with. So this really can be used for all those reasons. Now, if you want this kind of a product, it is going to need, as I said, the Kabuki brush, and then you are going to need some kind of a primer. So the primer is going to fill in those pores and those fine lines, but it's also going to make sure that it stays on your face and doesn't slide off. Ideally, you may also want to grab yourself some kind of a setting product. So you want to think of your makeup being in a sandwich. You know, so there's bread, all the good yummy stuff, and then a piece of bread. The good yummy stuff is your foundation. You need to have a primer to create a blank canvas. Then you put your makeup on top. So it's not going to slide off your face. But what about things that touch it? What about if you're wearing a mask, you hug somebody, or anything like that, or you scratch your face? So you need something on top to really create that final barrier to give it long-lasting wear, to make sure it doesn't come off. So you can utilize either a setting powder. A pressed powder also helps set, or a setting spray. Setting powder will give you more of a matte finish. So if you put it on top of this, it will mattify it. Same thing if you put a pressed powder on top, it will mattify it. And if you choose to use a setting spray, that will keep the dewy finish going strong. So I was able to get rid of a lot of my freckles, but I'm going to add a little bit more because, as I said, I wanted to show how this can really be some more full coverage. If you wanted to do. And I love this because it really has so much versatility. And as you can see, I'm applying it under my eye rather than using under eye concealer. I'm just matching that to my skin tone. Oh, thank you, Blake. Blake, Instagram didn't work. It did not work. So Blake had tried to help me so that I could go live on Instagram at the same time, and alas, it was not working. So when you do more full coverage, a couple of tips for you. You do want to make sure that you blend a little bit onto your ears. See, my ears, I just get like pink ears. So you want to sometimes blend a little bit there so it's not just like your regular face and then bright ears. Some people paint their whole ear. I don't. I just bring it a little bit there. I also bring a little bit down onto my neck. Now when I color match people, I am particularly looking at your neck. I ideally want your face to match your neck so that it just blends ever so seamlessly. Look at that. Oh yeah, looking good. Rather than having it be too light, or what most people accidentally do is they get this too dark, and then you end up having this ring around your face. So when you go for fuller coverage foundation, if I choose a color and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a little light, I want you to see how it blends to your neck and know that this is actually what you're trying to do. And then you can go back and add a bit more color with bronzer or blush to help warm things up. So that is more of a fuller coverage. I still got a little bit right there that you know, the problem is I'm not using a real mirror. I'm just using the social media video right now, so I probably should take my mirror out so that way I can see what I'm actually doing and not looking in this little screen. There we go, much better. And I've got a little freckle up here, so I'm gonna get rid of those little suckers and just press and swirl, and those go away. Awesome. So you can see that dewiness. That's what I want you to really see with the stick foundation. It's very hydrating. It's one of my favorite foundations for the winter. Being that I live in New England, it gets really dry. And I just like to make sure that I've got as much hydrating as possible. So with the light coverage, you can see my rosy cheeks still popping through. You can see some of my freckles and my age spots. But what's cool about light coverage is you don't have to necessarily add blush. You don't have to add bronzer. You don't have to add color back to your skin because a lot of it's still shining through. You still can, but if you're more of a makeup minimalist, know that going light coverage will be really, really helpful for you. However, if you don't like your age spots, if you really want that blank canvas, I will caution you that unless you want to just look like a blank slate, you will want to add in some dimension. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's even out this face. Can you do me a favor? Can you see a difference? Let me know if you can see a difference. It's always hard to tell on camera if people can see a difference or not, but I'm going to go in and make this side full coverage as well. As you can see, I'm just putting a little areas where I've got some more pigment, where I've got some more pigmentation with my freckles and my age spots, and around my eye area. So you really can use this as your concealer, as your foundation, and it's just super easy, super easy. This is a great product for all ages as well. So if you have a teen who might be having, you know, some big breakout issues and stuff, this will be great for them. If you're someone who's a bit more mature and you'd like to use it, it's great, honestly, for all ages. It's not my favorite, obviously, if you want matte. If you want a matte look, you know, that powder kind of matte look, this will not be your choice. So I have a lot of freckles, especially on my nose. So you can see I just did a little bit extra there, but it's just super easy to use. Awesome. Thank you, Gloria, for saying that you can see the difference. That's perfect. Because I never know. So you could also be doing this if you did choose to use a concealer. You could be brightening under your eyes with a bit of a highlight color, you know, doing a bit brighter. If you did want to do concealer on the areas where you have discoloration, as I said, with scarring or anything like that, you could choose to use concealer for it. But in a pinch, this really can do everything. So it's just a really great product if you like a dewy finish and the flexibility of light to full coverage. All right, so now that this is done, I am going to actually share with you how you can contour also with a stick foundation. So when you're using a creamy or a liquid product, you can contour with a liquid, creamy, or even powder product. You always do your liquid and creamy makeup first, and then your powders on top. You never do a powder and then put anything creamy or liquid on top, as that will cause chaos. It'll just become muddy. So as I said, when you do that more fuller coverage, we are going to be thinking about how can we add warmth? How can we add color and dimension back into your face? So if you already have a foundation that you love, but you'd like to start maybe contouring, a stick foundation is a great option for the more dewy and liquid styles if you wanted to contour. You're going to choose a shade that's a few shades darker than your foundation shade. And then I'm going to go right here. I can feel my cheekbone right here where my hairline meets my ear. And I'm just going to do a little line like that. So see, it's not a super dark. Sometimes I choose to use a super dark contour shade. This is just a little bit darker. So once again, right along there. I even sometimes do it a little like higher than my cheekbone area. You know, in the higher portion of where you can feel it start to concave in. So this is going to add dimension. This is going to add a little bit of dimension, because when you make this full coverage face, it really makes it almost a two-dimensional face. So I've got a large forehead. I'm going to contour right up there and go around that hairline. If you have a smaller forehead, there's no need to do this, but if you have a larger forehead, when you make this blank canvas, it makes everything sometimes look bigger. So you need to add that dimension. When you contour, it makes things look like they're sinking back. It looks like you have more distinct cheekbones. Now I am also going to contour my nose, because once again, making it that blank full coverage slate is great if you want the coverage, but it can also make my nose just kind of blend into everything. So I have my natural shadowing of my nose is right here. If I want to slim my nose, which I do, so I'm going to share with you that, I'm actually going to draw my contour line a little bit further in. Just using that same shade. So I'm creating a faux shadow. I'm creating a shadow line a little bit further inward to slim down my nose a little bit. And then if you want to shorten your nose, if you feel like it goes a little longer than you'd like, you could do the same thing by going right there. If you'd like your lips to look fuller, you can even contour your lips with the stick foundation. You go underneath your lower lip to create a shadow. Now we are going to blend all these things out, so don't worry, you're not going to be walking around with lines drawn all over your face. If you do have issues where, you know, you're a little not so confident about the double chin, you can even go underneath your cheekbone, underneath your chin bone, I mean, and contour there. It's going to help make it look more distinct. So contouring, as I said, it's going to either enhance the shadows of your face or kind of fudge them so it makes it look like things are smaller. Then you just take your brush and you are going to kind of blend that out. So we don't want to see where the line is, but as I said, just because it's a darker shade, it's going to make it look like things are beginning and ending a little sooner, giving you that kind of contour that we're going for. Do you contour? Let me know in the comments. And as I said, feel free to put a hashtag, hello lovely. It's your little way to wave to me over the interweb so I can see who's tuning in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hi Ashley, how are you? Great to see you, my friend. Tuning in from Texas, right? Got one of the biggest states talking to a girl in the tiniest state. I love it. So I'm just taking, as I said, this brush. And when it comes to the face brushes that are included in this week's sale, there's a whole bunch of options. So if you already have a Kabuki brush and you don't need that, there's tons of options of other brushes that you can get. You know, you can get a blush brush, you can get a highlight brush, you can get this big powder puff brush, which is great for if you're bronzing or adding powders. I love the setting powder brush if you're gonna do a light dusting of anything, whether it's setting powder or even pressed powder. So if you do have any questions, I highly suggest you reach out to me sooner rather than later, as the sale does go through Sunday, and I don't want you to miss out. It may feel silly to be doing holiday sales this early, but I gotta tell you, getting your shopping done early, doing this kind of stuff really makes things easy. My products are USA made, so if you are in the US, you are in luck. Things are not waiting on ships. And if you're outside the US and one of the countries that I ship to, I actually have warehouses in those countries. So once again, you don't have to worry about things being shipped overseas, because I know things right now are pretty chaotic. All right, so I blended somewhat, but you could still see some lines, right? That is where you just go back with your Kabuki brush and you just blend where those lines meet. You don't blend out the contour, you don't get rid of it, but the trick with makeup is just about letting people not see. It's just always gonna be a gradient effect, you know, that kind of ombre effect, and it's going to create a beautiful optical illusion. But now it's like, oh yeah, you can see, as I said, you're creating almost a faux shadow. This light is so dang bright. Oh, I feel loads better. I know Blake would probably kill me, say like, Mary, you're messing up your lighting. He's my lighting snob, but oh, I feel loads better. That looks more like me, guys. Sorry about all that. I love my husband dearly, but he's probably gonna look at this. Hi, Michelle, how are you? And be like, you messed up the lighting. But it's different when it's daytime, you know, when you've got some natural sunlight coming through, you do want to capitalize on it. All right, and then I'm just going to take this brush right here, make sure that I don't have any of those harsh lines, and that, my friends, is how you create a full coverage foundation face utilizing stick foundation. You can do light to full coverage. The world is your oyster. Creates this beautiful hydrating dewy finish to your face. And then I showed you how you can contour also with the stick foundation. Now, as I said, when you are using foundations, you are going to want to set them somehow, because you've got, you know, this creamy thing that if you scratch your face or if you wear a mask or if you hug somebody, it's gonna get all over the place. So there's a couple of options when it comes to setting your stick foundation. You can either use Behold Translucent Setting Powder. This is going to mattify it a little bit, so it's going to tone down some of that dewiness. You can also use a pressed powder and just kind of lightly dust that. That will also amp up the coverage. So if you did really want to like have maximum full coverage, you could use that pressed powder. Or if you really want to stick with the dewiness of it, you would use a setting spray. Now this is going to last you, no joke, a year. It's crazy how long it lasts you. You just should shake it up and spray it. Since I am going to be rocking the dewy look really to get the maximum effect from the stick foundation, I am going to choose to do this. I will say, because I have hooded eyelids though, I find for me, I need to set right here on my eyes with a little bit of powder. It's just who I am. The other thing I could potentially do is take a little bit of, actually I could probably do this way. Let me just rock and roll with setting spray. Take a little bit of setting spray, put it on a damp blending bud, and press it into your skin. This is going to act almost like a hairspray for your for your skin and for your makeup, and lock it in place. But as I said, I have slightly hooded eyes, so sometimes I need to utilize a setting powder just to make sure that that doesn't go all over the place. Hi Anna, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. And I put it around my crow's feet, and I just take the setting spray, spray my face nice and generous, and you could also take that blending bud and pounce it in. This is great if you do have fine lines. If you have textured skin, you know, acne, scarring, anything like that, or fine lines, taking a damp blending bud, put that spray all over your face, no matter which foundation you have. You can see I'm just lightly pouncing. Pounce, pounce, pounce. This is going to gently really press that makeup into your skin, into your fine lines, into your pores, you know, for what it can on top of that primer. But it just makes it meld beautifully into your skin. If you've never done this, where you've taken setting spray and done this kind of approach, it's going to be a game changer for you. So I have some forehead fine lines. I have fine lines around my smile area, because smiling's my favorite. I've got some crow's feet. Once again, smiling's my favorite. And I find just doing this, just this little pat, I'm not pressing hard, I'm not trying to make hardcore impact, I'm just pressing that setting spray into the stick foundation, locking it in place. So now I had that primer, I had the foundation, and I had the setting spray, and it really is going to keep it for this beautiful long day wear with that dewy finish. I hope that this video was useful to you. I would love to know, you know, what tips and tricks you got from it. I am going to continue just to finish up my makeup a little bit, but those are the tips and tricks in regards to the stick foundation. So if you want to still hang on out, I would love to chat and know how everybody's doing. We are going to be podcasting later today about The Last Kingdom. Finally got around to watching another episode, and the family is feeling pretty good right now, so it's like we got to strike while the iron is hot. I am going to do a little bit of liquid eyeshadow. Liquid eyeshadow is super, super easy to use. Talking about easy, right? So this is going to be the shade Businesslike. It's a beautiful pink shade. Thought it would go nicely with the sweater that I've got on today. And these things are so easy. You just apply it onto your lid and then blend it out. You can either use a brush, an eyeshadow brush, or your finger. And I'm just going to use my finger today. Nice and easy. Isn't it so pretty? And the whole idea, once again, just like I was talking about when it comes to contouring, you do not want to see where a color begins and where a color ends. That is the trick. That is the makeup hack. If I've learned one thing over these past 4 years of doing Minute with Mary, it is that. Got to blend and have no harsh lines. Unless you're trying to do a really sharp eyeliner. Then you can go to town with the sharp line. Isn't that so pretty? And it was so easy. And you can use this with other liquid shadows or with pressed shadows or just by itself. There's colors that are nice and light, and then there's colors that are more dramatic, but it's so awesome. These are great giftable items as well, these liquid eyeshadows. Let's do the other eye. So we're gonna finally be podcasting about it. We're getting things really ready for Outlander, the newest book in the series of the Outlander books is coming out in just a couple of weeks. So we just had a meeting with our friend Angela, who's been running a lot of book club discussions in the Outlander Cast Clan Book Club, as we're going to be having a Bees extravaganza party to really kick off the excitement of this new book. And then of course the new season will be coming out early next year. It's just lots of great things for Outlander fans like myself. Really, really pumped about that. There we go. Easy, easy, easy liquid eyeshadow. You can also take it and use it on your lower eyelid. I love to use a little bit of eyeshadow on my lower eyelid. For me, it makes my eyes look a little bigger. It makes the whole eye look a little bit more cohesive. So you just take that same applicator, and you actually, just like you have an eyelid here, you've got a little lower lid right here. A lot of you may think, oh, it's a fine line. No, it's your lower eyelid. It's where your eye starts to, you know, round about and turn in. And that's a great whole area just to put a little eyeshadow. This is also wonderful if you do have fine lines or discoloration in this area, put eyeshadow on it. It'll just make it magically hide and disappear. It's not an area that you necessarily want to have concealer on. So if there's things that you don't want people to see, don't make them light. Don't make them concealed, you know. So for me, I've got some crow's feet towards this outer portion of my eyes, so that's why I especially like to put some eyeshadows. Color it up, you know. Color it and cover it up. This is the shade Businesslike, Ashley. Isn't it so pretty? Such a pretty shade. Really, really easy to use. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of color to my brows. I'm just going to use my brow liner pencil. I do have naturally dark brows, and when I apply foundation, I make a mess. I get all that foundation stuck inside my thick, bushy brows. But I like to use a pencil just to add a little bit of definition. Now, as you can see, because my brows are so thick, I don't necessarily need to draw my eyebrows on. Do you need to draw your eyebrows on? I have several friends who do, who basically have no eyebrows. But what I like to do is I like to start at the base of the eyebrow and kind of draw a nice gentle line, very, very soft touch when it comes to this pencil. And then I go to the top of my brow and I do the same thing, just little light strokes, like that. Now, a lot of my eyebrows are getting silver just because I have a lot of silver in my hair. So I like to put some of the product actually on my brows. If you have, you know, spots that are missing hair, you can also do that. And then I draw the tail in. If you need brow advice, please, please, please let me know, as I do have some videos of some dear friends who go from having like very little to no brow, and then they get to have great brows. But I just don't feel like I'm the best demonstrator of how to draw on brows because I've got such thick bushy ones already that you don't really get to see a dramatic before and after. So as I said, if you're ever looking for brow advice, just send me a message and I can send you a few demo videos that have been very, very helpful to friends in the past. Ashley said, I have no eyebrows and the few that I have are so blonde you can't see them. Yes. Yes, Ashley. You are one of those friends, right? You're one of those friends that you need to draw them on. But what's cool, Ashley, is that like our friend Rachel on Facebook, she's still called Bustamante. Sadly, she needs her name changed. Facebook won't let her change her name. But anyway, she dyes her hair fun colors like you do. And so she often will do colorful eyebrows, which is really fun. She's even done kind of like an ombre one where it might start off her natural hair color and then it turns into the wild fun color that she has dyed her hair. So I just love that. Mine are super, super thick, which thank God they at least came back in style. It's funny with like the 90s and early 2000s styles being super on trend right now. I've been nervous, like, oh no, are thin eyebrows gonna come back too? Because that's when they were all the rage, right? Like that's when people over tweezed or shaved them and would just draw them on. And that was when I got made fun of so much because I have such thick brows, you know? But you know, if it was trendy now, came to help me out eventually. Took a while, and of course my years that I actually care what people think about me, it was opposite. But oh well, it would have been so trendy. I was a teenager now with these thick brows, but alas. I needed it to toughen me up. Then what you do after you've kind of added that color, there's this little brush right here. So you can just brush through. It's really going to deposit that pencil color better through your brow. So as I said, my brows have started to have a little bit more silver in it, which is totally fine. But I like to make sure that they're still defined a little bit, especially if I do eyeshadow. Or if I do what I did today and I put makeup all over it. So when I do have a more fuller coverage look or a more dramatic eye look, I personally like to just define my eyebrows a little bit. It makes it stand out more. Just like we were talking about with the contouring, you know, when you do a fuller coverage face, you kind of you need to put a little bit more effort into the rest of your makeup to balance it all out, because you're getting rid of a lot of natural coloring and definition. So you know, but it creates a beautiful blank canvas, and that's one of the reasons that people love full coverage foundations. You just get to start on over and get to be a Bob Ross. Can't imagine anyone making fun of you. Oh, you know what was so sad, Ashley? Is it would usually happen at church school. I had like this mean girl who would make fun of me at church school. I'm like, this is not okay. This isn't what it's supposed to be like. My goodness gracious. I'm just gonna take a little bit of powder bronzer and warm things up. So I used that cream foundation. Now I can go on and use some powder products. You can put powder on top of creams. So I'm just going to use this to add some warmth. I used the contouring for definition. And as I said, this is just going to warm, but it kind of goes around the same areas and helps warm up this face. Keep adding that definition. The beauty of full coverage, you get to kind of change your face shape, add the color where you want to, warm it up, do all those fun things. But yeah, it was a girl at church school. And what's so sad is I never forgave her, and it's something that I feel terrible about. Hello, I'm a Taurus. Whenever I tell people I'm a Taurus, Tauruses are one of the most, if not the most stubborn sign. You'll be able to tell me, Ashley, are we the most stubborn one? And I remember when I would tell people, oh, you can't be a Taurus. Tauruses are the bull. They're stubborn. And I would say, it's because we haven't disagreed yet. I'm very protective of my loved ones, whether they're my family, my friends, my teammates, very, very protective. But I also have a very hard time forgetting if someone has wronged me. Jamie Fraser from Outlander is a Taurus, and it's funny because I see things and I'm like, yep, that's me too. That is how I would have reacted to that situation. Like, you treated me that way, and so I did. I went to, I was such a young kid when I got picked on about my eyebrows, and then I went to high school with the same girl. And I never wanted to be your partner in science projects or anything. She never really asked me to, but I wouldn't have wanted to, just because of how she treated me growing up. Your daughter is a Taurus, so stubborn, mostly when it comes to doing something she doesn't want to do. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. I'm going to go in and do a little bit of blush. Blush is one of my favorite things. I think it just adds such a nice pop to my face. This week, of course, we're doing color matching so you can understand your foundation shade. But color matching isn't just about foundation, because maybe you're someone who doesn't like foundation. Maybe you're already set with your foundation. You're all set. But when you know your undertones, when you know your foundation shade, it actually helps you when you are choosing blush or lipstick. I know there's a lot of people, my mom included, for example. My mom doesn't wear foundation. She just doesn't. It doesn't strike her fancy, but she will wear lipstick. Sometimes she'll wear a little blush. And honestly, when you're choosing a shade of those products, it is important to know your undertone, because that's going to be the color that either makes you look amazing and makes your face pop, or you put it on, you say, whoa, this looked different on my friend, or this looked different on the model. It does not look right on me. Frequently that happens because you have the wrong shade for your undertone. So I'm doing complimentary color matching all week. But I will say, if you haven't been color matched yet, please, please, please send me a message, as I do want to get that accomplished. So I'm putting it on the high point. So the low point of my cheekbone is where I contoured, and then the high point of my cheekbone is where I'm placing this blush. Frequently I tell people don't apply blush any further than your pupil, but it really does depend upon your face shape. So I like to have that apple of my cheek and then bring it upward. Once again, I go heavy with blush, but it brings me joy. So lean into the things that make you happy, right? But it really does. It depends upon face shape and all that stuff. What might help me find my undertones? So sending me a little message, because I can definitely help. But one of the biggest tips about your undertones, if you have lighter toned skin like myself, is how your skin reacts to sunlight. So if you go outside and you're not wearing sunscreen, which you should always be wearing sunscreen, but if you went outside and you weren't wearing sunscreen, if you burn right away, if you burn right away and you stay burned, or you just go back to your original color, most likely you are cool undertoned. If you burn and then it turns into a nice tan, most likely you're a neutral undertone. And if you don't burn at all, if you just tan, A, you're a lucky little duck, and B, you are warm undertoned. So those are some different little tips and tricks. So we got our blush on, and here's a tip. Remember, talked about it during the contouring, talked about it when I did the eyeshadow. You have to blend. So this is when one of those big old fluffy brushes comes into play. I just blend out so there's no harsh lines. And this is why I go a little heavy-handed with my own blush, is because I know I'm going to blend it. And when you blend it in a big swiping motion, it frequently diffuses and lessens the color. So same thing with my eyes. When I blended it and I brought it upwards, it diffused the color. It looks a little bit lighter than it does when it's more concentrated on my lower lid. So just blending this out still keeps the placement that I want, but it makes it a bit more natural. Another great tip when it comes to color matching is the kind of clothes that you wear. So I am a neutral undertone person who leans towards cool, okay? I wear a lot of jewel tones. I wear mostly silver jewelry. That is a typical thing that a cooler undertone person would do. But I can wear gold jewelry. I can wear earth tones, and that's what a neutral person can do, cool and warm stuff. A warm tone person can wear more of those earth toned colors, likes to wear a lot of gold jewelry, and they're the ones, as I said, that usually tan. So those are some little tips and tricks when it comes to color matching. So what's everybody doing for Thanksgiving? We did an early Thanksgiving. What did I just drop? I dropped something, but I can't see it. Isn't that terrible when you're like, hope I don't need it? We did an early Thanksgiving on in October because we didn't know what the situation was going to be like with the pandemic and with traveling and everything. So we already did a Thanksgiving, but we're going to have a second Thanksgiving because why not, right? Just this season to get together when you can, eat good food when you can. So we are definitely going to have another Thanksgiving, but what I'm really, really excited about is this will be the first time that I get to see my sister since the pandemic began. So my sister is severely handicapped. I always mess up the word, but this is how I say it, even though my parents say I mispronounce it. She has what's called right hemiplegia. As I said, my parents always are like, that's not exactly how it's called, but that's how it is in my brain, and I've been saying that for 39 years, or at least since I could talk. So that's what happens. So she has... She is older than me, and she has the mental capabilities of more like an 18-month-old. She was born perfectly healthy. I'm just going to take a little bit of pencil eyeliner just to define my lashes. I'm going to use it on the top portion of my lid from my pupil out. And I'm using a brown shade just to make it a little softer since I'm wearing a pink eyeshadow. I'm not trying to do anything dramatic today with eyeliner. But she was born perfectly healthy, and then she got sick and sadly went into a coma and had seizures and all this kind of stuff. And the illness just really wreaked havoc on her brain, on the right side of her brain. And she has been handicapped ever since. And so she lives in a group home. She grew up like living in her house, and she moved to a group home when I went to middle school. So I grew up my entire younger life with a very disabled person in my home, caring for her. We shared a room, all this kind of stuff. She looks a lot like me. Like, it's crazy when I go and I meet a new person who works at a group home because they're like, oh, you're Jeannie's sister. She even has a bunch of silver hair. She, of course, got it earlier than me because she's older than me, and probably because she's on, some medications that obviously I'm not on. But I remember when she started to go gray, my family was like, oh my gosh, why is she going so gray so early? And then I started to go gray early, but I dyed my hair for the better part of a decade, no, more than a decade. So I used to say, like, I think I'm really gray too. I think I have a lot of silver in my hair. And they were like, oh no, it's because of Jeannie's medicine. No, it's just how it is. But neither of my parents went gray young, so we just don't know why my sister and I have the silver tinsel. But she sadly did get the virus. Her whole house did, sadly. And they got better. Nobody was really super injured or anything like that, so that's a huge blessing. But we get to see her finally, and she's going to come on over, so we're really pumped, as she usually would be with us for the holidays, and we haven't been able to, so I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm so excited too, Ashley. Well, the other thing is too, so I have my kids, and my kids obviously, have not been vaccinated. They're just, in my state, they're just allowing kids to be vaccinated soon. If not, oh yeah, now they're letting, it just like started this week or something, but because they're not vaccinated and everything, we weren't able to visit the group home, and I didn't want to bring them into the group home. So yeah, we're really thankful that she's going to be able to come on over. So I'm taking that pencil eyeliner and I'm just smudging it. You can smudge it with either a Q-tip or a little liner brush, but I love this because it just softens it. So if you're someone who likes the look, like you can see, it just enhances the look of my eyes, makes them stand out a little bit more. If you like that, but when you've used pencil, it either looks choppy, maybe you don't have a steady hand, maybe the texture on your eyelid makes it look all bumpy, or it looks too extreme. The ones that I sell at minutewithmary.com, within the first minute you can budge it around. You can smudge it. So that's what I recommend. And I am going to do the same now on my lower lid. So I'm not going on that waterline. I'm not going in between the lashes and the eyeball. I'm actually going on that lash line in the same amount of space, you know, kind of that outer third to outer half of my eye. But I do believe that having a sibling with severe disabilities really made me a lot of who I am today, because, you know, there's so many things that she can't do. So I've always told myself, you know, I need to take advantage of the things that she can't do, and I need to be an advocate for people who can't speak up for themselves. Also, so no one in my family is a musician, but I got into music really young. And I would play music and it would calm her down, or she really liked it. She still really loves music, because even though, as I said, she has the abilities of an 18-month-old, but she's got the brain and the sass of a 41-year-old. Or is she 42 now? Let me see. She's 42. Yeah, so it's so funny. So I used to, you know, play music and instruments and for her and sing, and she loved it. So I really think that that's part of the way that I became super interested in music, is it was something that brought her joy. My parents are probably like, Mary, play that song again, sing to her again, it calmed her down. Ashley says, genetics are weird. My half-brother was born with bright red hair and no one knows where it came from. Wow, both of his parents have brown hair. That's crazy. And then Anna said, I did ancestry DNA, and that was interesting. My brother is 5 years younger and gets and looks older than me. Wow. Well, you're lucky, right? You're lucky that you get the young situation, that you look younger than him. Right, I'm going to put on a little mascara and then a little bit of lippy, and I'm going to let you all go. Thank you all so much for hanging on out. I love this. I need to come on more, and I do. I hope that the tips and tricks that I shared in the beginning part of this video, where I went over the foundation special and the techniques that I used with the stick foundation, I hope that you found it helpful. If you missed that part, you can either watch the replay or you can send me a message, as I do want to make sure that if anyone does want a color match or wants to try a new foundation, then I can answer it, as the sale does end on Sunday night. So you don't want to miss out. It's essentially 50% off. And I'm honestly recommending that people just get your second, your backup. You know, you can never go wrong having a backup when it's on sale. If it's something you use frequently, grab it while it's on sale. Or if you wanted to try something new, and I do always recommend, so I just applied lash primer, and now I'm going with the twisted mascara. It has two wands. It has a itty bitty baby wand, and then when you spin it at the silver, it's got a big old wand. I always need to show that, because friends buy this and they usually just like open it and they use just one wand. They don't know the second one exists, and that's the whole point of it, is that it has a dual purpose applicator wand, which is really neat. So that's the special. It's a great special, and you can. One of my recommendations too is, if you do already have a foundation that you love, if it's not the pressed powder foundation, I'm recommending that you get the pressed powder foundation in your foundation shade, as you can't go wrong with it. It's a little cute compact, has a mirror. You can always do it as a light dusting on your current foundation to amp up the coverage and to set it beautifully. But I do. It's one of those things that I feel like, if you asked me about my makeup must-haves, like what would I recommend everybody have, I'd recommend you have one of my mascaras. This one right here is the Twisted, and this is great if you want the flexibility of really separated, feathery, wispy lashes. If you want more of the look of the dramatic lashes, you can do the 4D. There's a brown mascara, there's a waterproof. I've got all tons of options, so I would definitely suggest you have a mascara, and those do expire after 3 months. No matter where you buy it, CVS, drugstore, you know, wherever, it does expire after 3 months, even if you don't use it every day. Because once you open it up and you apply it on your eye, you start to get some of that good old bacteria brewing. So we want to make sure that you get a new tube once a season at least. And then I do recommend that people get a lipstick or a lip butter or a lip stain, something for your lips, because that can frequently add a whole, I don't know, just like takes you from being looking like a zombie to a whole new person. On days when I don't want to wear foundation, I just do a little something on my lips and a little lashes, and I feel like $1,000,000. So depending upon if you like a glossy look or a matte look, you know, you can choose different things there. Oh, thanks, Ashley, complimenting my pumpkins. I love the pumpkins. And then, yeah, as I said, you know, if you wanted a foundation, I would grab a foundation. But if you already have one, I would always recommend having the pressed powder in your shade so you can do little touch-ups. Little touch-ups. For my eyeshadow recommendations, I always suggest grabbing a liquid eyeshadow. My favorite shade to recommend for a newbie is Reverent. It's the Champagne Shimmer shade. It looks fabulous on every single person. I've never had one person complain about it. It is my best-selling liquid shadow shade because it looks awesome. It's a great giftable eyeshadow as well because it's easy and it looks great. You just can't go wrong with it. Once again, even for like makeup novices or makeup minimalists or teenagers, you can't go wrong. If you've got a makeup lover in your life and you're like, I don't know what to get them, that is what you can do. And then I do want to give a little plug. That 10% of the proceeds from minutewithmary.com do always go to the foundation that I support. It is called the Unique Foundation. If you go to uniquefoundation.org, you can learn more about it, but it's a resource for adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse. I know, I just got like really heavy and dark. I apologize, but it sadly is a huge statistic that 1 in 4 girls goes through this. And so my company, the whole reason that it was created was to fund these retreats where survivors get to go and they get to learn different modalities to possibly help them on their journey of healing. There are virtual options, there are local chapter options, and there's also a really cool resource for parents like myself. Like, I am not a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, but I also understand that the statistics are really high and God forbid it could potentially happen to my kids. So they also have a sister organization called defendinnocence.org, and that is resources for people like me or aunts or grandparents or teachers on how to talk about these topics in an age-appropriate way with kids. So 10% of proceeds from any sales on my site goes to this foundation. And I have had 2 friends who have gone to this retreat, and they have come back and it has been a game changer for them. It has been like a huge game changer for them. So if you or someone you know is a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, please check out the website uniquefoundation.org. If you're someone who supports me by making your purchases at minutewithmary.com, I do want to thank you, as you have helped loads and loads of women, including 2 of my friends, begin their journey of healing. So thank you so much. Sorry, switching gears. I'm like, I just went super serious right there. So thank you for letting me talk about that, as it is something I care about deeply. All right, I am going to do a lipstick shade. I'm going to use the shade Powerful. This is a beautiful deep mauve shade, kind of like a rosy shade. I don't know where my little towel went. I have some foundation on my lips. All right, so the cool thing with these lipsticks, all of my products do have some sort of skincare infused in them. So for hydrating, for anti-aging, all that kind of stuff. But with my lip products, it is still hydrating. So, super pretty color. It does have a slight cool undertone, so it actually will make your teeth look super white. And this is more of a creamy matte finish. I wouldn't say super matte, I'd say like a satin finish. But it's not a gloss, you know, but you can see a little bit of that sheen right there. What's great about this kind of a lipstick that I have is that if I were to blot it a little bit, there wouldn't be tons of transfer. You know, I can go drink my coffee and I'm not going to have smudges all over myself. If you were to choose more of a gloss, glosses and things that have a lot of shine and sheen, those do transfer more likely. So if you are someone who loves the look of a gloss, but you want that long-lasting color, one of my suggestions to you would actually be take one of my lip liners and actually color in your whole lip. Think about matte. Matte means it's going to stay longer, and gloss means it's going to look beautiful and full and luscious, but it's going to come off on your coffee cup or when you kiss somebody. So if you do apply something matte first and you get that great matte foundation and then you add the gloss on top, it's the best of both worlds. So you know what, that being said, let's do this. Let's do the best of both worlds. I'm going to take just a little bit of my clear gloss. Oh my gosh, can I? Yes, in the shade Loyal. So you can use this to top anything. So you just take a little bit, dab it. If you wanted to dab just in the center of your lip, it's going to actually give you a full pout. It's going to make it look like you got a little Botox in those lips when really you didn't. look at that shine and sheen. So if you are someone who wants the look of fuller lips, get yourself a little gloss, put it especially on the center of your lips. It's going to be a game changer. All right, my friends. Thank you. Thank you so much for keeping me company as I got ready and for letting me tell you about the specials. I am having different bundles drop every single week during the holiday season. Already we're here in bundle 2. You get your choice of foundation, concealer, or foundation and a brush. That is all bundled for $50, which is essentially 50% off. You can also add on the addition of a face primer for a total of $70 US. I do ship New Zealand, Australia, Canada, US, Mexico, a bunch of countries in Europe. And it's in your own pricing. The warehouses are located in your country, so you don't have to worry about things being all jumbled up this season. And as I said, I have 10 bundles. So note, if you wanted to keep your eyes on my site, I do have 4 bundles dropping the week of Thanksgiving. So the week of Thanksgiving, up until Thanksgiving, through Thanksgiving, I'm going to have 1 bundle. But then Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and that Sunday will be 24-hour flash bundles that you don't want to miss out on. Now, if you want to get on my complimentary texting reminder service, you can simply pick up your phone and text the phone number 81010, so 81010, and in the message field, put that @ symbol, Mary's VIPs. No spaces, no capitalization, just @ symbol, Mary's VIPs, and you're going to get on my complimentary text list. I do not text a lot, but I do just let you know when the special has dropped. You can also make sure that you're inside my VIP group. Do the hashtag Minute with Mary. Make sure you're inside there as I share the bundles and specials there as well. Think about treating yourself this holiday season. Think about different people who you want to buy gifts for, whether it's your hairstylist, your babysitter, your mom, your sister, a coworker. Think about supporting a business like mine. I'm a female entrepreneur. This money benefits my family greatly, particularly after the hardships that we've had this year. I don't know what we would have done without this Minute with Mary business and without your support. So if you are thinking about it, rather than going to a big box store where you don't know where the money's going to, I would love for you to take a chance on me and let me be your makeup girl this holiday season. And as I said previously, 10% of my proceeds do go towards Unique Foundation. So you'd be helping me and you'd be helping women that you don't even know, but you're making a huge difference in their lives. Thank you ever so much, and I will be in touch soon. Take care.